Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Bombcast. This is a continuation of the last episode where we're going through the story of Kingdom Hearts, and I have the same two guests I had last time. If you want to reintroduce yourselves.
I'm Claire Firedragon, and I'm here to talk about Kingdom Hearts for as long as I possibly can.
And I'm Tyler Martin, and here to go over the next 3 games in the series this time.
All right, and the next 3 games we're gonna tackle are gonna be 358/2, Kingdom Hearts 2, and Recoded. So, with that in mind, let's jump into it with 358/2. Start with general thoughts. What did you guys think of Kingdom Hearts 358/2 being the
It was a very good DS game. You know, one of 3 DS games, with one being on the 3DS, but this one on the regular DS, and it was a very good one. And probably for, like I said, for a DS game of Kingdom Hearts, has very good storytelling.
Yeah, the story of it was very good because we got basically to glimpse into the workings of the organization and kind of how everything is developing on the other side of the tracks, if you will. And of course, the main focus was Roxas, and we kind of got to see his development more, and it really helped to flesh out his character from when he first was there until the point to where we get to the end of the story, of course, when all the juicy stuff happens.
Yeah. It's also the bit where you get to see how Xemnas just names people, where he just looks Sora. And then we just put the names up. Let's add an X. Roxas. And it's also the first kind of bit into the organization's sigil, which is just a weird plot point that we see later on. Because, when I put you in a different name, that means I'm gonna put a tracker on you.
Yes.
Because names now can be mentally tracked, verbally tracked.
How does he track him? Does he have just an entire TV screen of just where everybody is at once?
Every time their name is spoken, a little light blinks, and it's like, Roxas has been spoken over in Agrabah today.
I just had a really funny thought. You know the lucky emblems in KH2?
Yeah.
What if those are just sigils that Mickey uses to keep track of Sora, Donald, and Goofy?
Just secretly putting them everywhere. Be like, okay, you're here, you're here, you're here, you're also here.
It's great. Anyway, moving on back on track. This is also the game where Xion is introduced as a character, being I think it's the memories of part of the memories of Kairi. I don't remember exactly what Xion is.
It was Sora's memories of Kairi. That is what Xion acquired. That gave her. That's why she has Sora's memories of Kairi, but her appearance is of Kairi, but with slight changes.
And that's also the reason why she gets a Keyblade for some reason, because Sora's memories.
She's actually a copy of Roxas, a data replica copy that was supposed to be copying Roxas's abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, all the memories.
Yeah, and at first she didn't have a face until she started to absorb more of Sora's memories, and then she took basically Kairi's face.
Yeah, Kairi's face, but just with black hair because stylish. I don't know. But
everybody has a case of having the same face in this game. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah. With this game, though, it also does with this game being part of the timeline that it is, it also takes place during Chain of Memories. So I like how in the tutorial segment we get to kind of know just half the organization, and we only go on missions with the organization members that will inevitably die in Chain of Memories.
Well, during the training missions, those opening initial training missions, each member that you go with is one of the ones that go to Castle Oblivion. And then later on, you just get to go with the other ones at your leisure during the missions. Demix, Sheldon, all
Demix,
those other dudes.
Demix is just sitting on that couch, not wanting to do anything on his sitar. What does he do?
He's just lazy.
He is a pro as Axel, well, not a pro, but Axel says that he excels in recon missions. That's all we know.
He likes to avoid. He basically hates combat to the point to where he'll go to any means to avoid it. But he's apparently very sneaky and good.
And sweating is gross.
Yes.
His words, not mine.
That is very much true. It's like the equivalent to I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Well, sweat isn't thankfully coarse or rough.
As far as we know, Demix didn't go all crazy and kill a bunch of younglings. So
that we know of. Again, he's sneaky. You don't know. He could have done it sneakily. This is also just the introduction into Axel and Roxas' friendship we see in KH2. We get to see just how good friends they are, just sitting upon that tower eating ice cream. And
every day for a year.
Yeah. And one of the things that I didn't really notice, and I guess it's because what year did 358 come out exactly? Remind me.
I do not remember.
It came out before BBS, right?
I would yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. It's just hard to remember sometimes. But after BBS came out, going back and thinking about it, you're like, oh, one of the reasons that he made such a connection with Roxas is because he met Ventus before and he looks just the same.
2009 is 358, by the way. It was 2009.
Yes. Okay, so that does explain that bit. But with that, it's just like it also just explains just freaking Shion's kind of just whole bit with Roxas with every time they go on missions and Shion's able to use the Keyblade but not Roxas. It was weird seeing him having a mission of just, oh, Shion's able to use the Keyblade but Roxas can't. You know what I should do? I should use a stick.
It was actually Shion couldn't use the Keyblade. Roxas said, here, use mine. She's like, but what will you use, Roxas? And that's when he picks up the stick because he wanted her to not get in trouble with Sax, who said if you can't, do your missions, you will be terminated.
Yeah.
Sax is a butt.
Because her and Roxas were not supposed to be able to exist at the same time.
Yeah.
They were both supposed to go on separate missions, both using the Keyblade, but without Shion using them, Axel came up with the plan to team them up together. But
yep.
Yeah, Sax caught on to that. He's like, nuh-uh, you guys got to separate eventually.
And that's how that worked. But even with that, you get to see a bunch of other sort of interactions that you don't really get to see, like with Roxas is just interacting with Hayner, Pence, and Olette before, all that stuff in KH2 happens.
Yeah, because he did actually, while the data versions are the ones that were friends with him, he did get to know them a little bit in the real world and also go on that adventure with Pence being like, yo, we have these 7 wonders. You can go investigate in the forest.
The 7 wonders are a total sham, by the way. We're gonna get more to it into KH2, but the 7, it's just what's your town known for? Oh, these 7 wonders that don't mean shit.
Well, I have something I want to say in that, but we'll get there when we get to Kingdom Hearts 2.
This is also the bit where I get to see Reku doing stuff, and by that I mean just going and seeing Roxas and trying to get Sora's memories back in order, because I think he's teaming up with Diz at this point, if I remember correctly.
He is teaming up with Diz and Naminé because Naminé is restoring the memories, so he does go after Shion at first, and he calls her Keyblade a sham, which is when Shion starts to question her, self and what she is and who she is.
But she's a person. She owns a good person who just likes eating ice cream.
Who else?
I think if she's a replica, she'll never gain weight because she was artificially created.
Does that mean she would never really age either?
You have to ask Vexen. Did he plan on his replicas aging?
So it's like when Sora is just like an adult, you just see like everyone is an adult, but like Shion, and just she'll be a teenager forever, I guess.
Sadness.
I guess she's immortality. She'll outlive them all. She will outlive every single one of them.
For everyone.
But you know, when Shion ends up realizing this and ends up defecting at some point, it pretty much also just gets Roxas to kind of realize, wait a minute, this place kind of sucks. You know what? I'm gonna go and defect as myself as well. But only after, you know, the fight with Shion and stuff.
Yeah, because he already was starting to question things, and then that fight with Xion with her dying at his hand, that was the final straw.
It reminds me of the Mega Man, one of the Mega Man X games with I forgot her name. It's Zero's love interest. Editor, put it on the picture. You know who? I'll probably remember it like as I'm going through. Iris. Her name was Iris. It's this famous scene where it's no, this can't be happening. This can't be done. What am I fighting for? It's pretty much that.
Sure. Whatever that was.
You need to play the Mega Man X games.
Oh, Mega Man, that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, Mega Man X with Mega Man X with Iris and Zero.
That's off topic though. That's a Mega Man story.
Exactly. But tune in for the Mega Man commentary that I will eventually do later. But with a kind of that we actually get to finally see that big battle between Roxas and Riku during the KH2 shut up moment.
And he uses 2 Keyblades
that are a lot weaker than what he would have had if he just equipped the regular ones.
Oh, the equipping. Now, that would have been funny if they canonically acknowledged equipping Keyblades.
Be interesting. With that, it's such a weird game where with kind of going on these different missions, you kind of get to know the different organization members, and then there's just a bit where then you can kind of coincide some bits that are happening with Sora that with Roxas, because he ends up having just all these dreams of just what's happening, of like the memories being put back together.
Yeah.
And then he ended up, I think, going to a coma, if I remember correctly, Roxas.
He did go into a coma for a while when Sora first arrived at Castle Oblivion. And then when Sora went into his sleep state, Roxas woke up.
Yeah. Because there can only be one, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, your nobody can't technically, quote unquote, exist at the same time as you do. So
Kingdom Hearts 3 would like to have a word with you, but you know, time travel bullshit. But yeah,
that's a whole other bag of worms.
Oh, we'll get to Dream Drop. I have words for that. But going back into it kind of, what do you think this game really fleshes out Roxas and Axel's relationship?
I think it does, because throughout it you kind of see them grow. Like Axel at first was kind of like, oh my god, I gotta take care of this zombie, whatever. And as they go along, Axel kind of starts to become almost like a father figure to him, looking out for him, protecting him, and it evolves into just a very good friendship that they have, to where they just and you know, he kind of helps Roxas become more human-like, in the sense of doing things that people normally would, since Roxas couldn't remember anything when he woke up.
Well, he didn't really have any memories, I guess, for himself.
No, he didn't.
Like, he ended up becoming his own person, and it kind of just blows the notion of, like, nobodies don't have hearts when they clearly do, and they have feelings and stuff.
Yeah, and, you know, I think Axel was the one that had that notion that could be possible, if I remember correctly. He didn't outright say it, but I feel like that there were some hints dropped to where he kind of feels that way.
I remember there's just a bit where he just says, it's like, I know we don't have hearts or anything, but I feel sad.
Then he's like, we can't just reach in and look. And I'm like, Well, you could,
Well,
but that's
technically.
not rated safe for kids.
Hey, don't worry. It just they have souls. It's clear that they do, because all you have to do is just look at just how they kind of act and react to each other.
They grow their hearts as they go along, despite what Xemnas tells them that they don't have them.
Yeah, because Zemnis is
Yes.
just an asshole.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about the strangeness of this title?
The strange. Oh, 358 over 2. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about the math problem.
What's your interpretation of the math problem?
358 days with with both Roxas and Xion. The two supposed to represent Roxas and Xion.
That's what I've thought, because if I remember correctly, Kingdom Hearts 2, you start with the 7 days as Roxas, if I'm correct?
Yes, you start with a week.
Yeah, a week long. And if you add a week to 358, what do you get?
Something.
Yeah, you get 3 5.
Do the math.
I don't care about the math. Editor, do the math.
Adding a week to 358 gives you 365, which is an entire year.
Yeah.
The Roxas literally only existed an entire year. Not a leap year, an entire year.
Yeah, he existed.
Roxas is but a small child.
And he gets more character development than Sora does. Explain that to me.
Well, Sora got reset for the second, third, 100th time.
Because you know that's how that works.
You got too strong. We're resetting you.
That's literally what happens at Dream Drop. And 2.
Reboot.
It happens in 2.
It happens everywhere.
Sora, I'm sorry, man. You're a little too strong. We're gonna have to nerf you. How about we have to nerf me? Oh, just you're back at level 1 again? You at least tell me you get to keep some of my abilities. Oh no, you get to keep nothing. Maybe like I'll give you aerial recovery maybe. But that's it.
Also, one thing we haven't covered yet is Riku's constant and consistent dedication to bringing his friend Sora back without considering the life of others, to the point that he gave into the darkness to become Ansem to strangle Roxas to make him unconscious.
Well, he's his boyfriend, so it makes good sense.
Like I said, he didn't have any consideration for others. I'm still waiting for an apology scene. Give me one.
Yeah, it was funny because, we didn't... Yeah, now that you bring up the point of Riku, I mean, one of the big points of 358 was Riku, going around and just trying to fix things of his own accord, aligning himself with Diz and, helping them try and whatever Ansem the Wise's purpose was at that moment,
Just try to get all this... Try to just regroup all the memories. But Riku was doing a very terrible job of it. Just I don't know. If he really wanted to do, he probably could have taken out both Xion and Roxas with ease. It just halted the organization's plan. But, then we wouldn't have a game then.
He could have taken them out early on, but after... Well, and I know a lot of people debate this. That fight between Roxas and Riku, and a lot of people were like, oh, Roxas won, Riku won. Well, it's pretty clear that they basically said Roxas beat Riku's ass, and then Riku had to tap into Ansem's power, and then he was able to overpower Roxas. That's how that whole thing went down simply.
Yep. And plus, Xion gave herself willingly over, but then Axel had to drag her back, and then Roxas had to fight her. So, Roxas is the true, most powerful. As much as I love Riku, at the time, Roxas was stronger.
Yeah, that's why that whole, I know that we'll get into it in Kingdom Hearts 2, that's why that whole battle with Sora didn't make a damn bit of sense. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Honestly, I just think that entire bit could have been... A lot of things could have been saved if he took them out earlier. But, again...
Well, beforehand, the memories weren't in Xion, and then they got into Xion, which caused a whole mess of things. And then, trying to sneak around the organization, he became known as the imposter. So it's kind of hard to take out Roxas early when you're being framed as an imposter.
There's an imposter among us.
do. And then immediately just all the 6 organization members get flown out into the airlock. But enough about that. It even like after it kind of overpowered him, it's then we get thrown. It gets thrown into the digital world. Roxas on the digital world, and just that's the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah, the Kingdom Hearts 2 land.
Well, just the virtual world. It's kind of weird that you just like, okay, we need to figure out a way to make sure you get his memories back, but we're not ready yet. Okay, let's just throw him into this virtual world and fuck his mind up, and for like a week.
It wasn't going to cooperate, so they had to compress his real memories and give him fake ones.
It kind of fucking sucks though. Like after going through this entire adventure of Roxas kind of realizing who he is, and made a promise to Shion that he'd be able to like stop the organization from what they're doing and just kind of do that by himself. He ends up getting captured not too long after.
And let's not forget the most famous lines in that game. Who else will I have ice cream with?
I know it's supposed to be symbolic, but like that is so dumb.
It's like his friend is sitting there dying in front of him, and the first thing that he can think of is, but I'll be alone having ice cream.
I'll be by myself having sea salt ice cream. I can't do that. Axel's somewhere else. I have no idea where Axel is, and Shion is just dead now. Can't go anyone but the ice cream social.
It still makes us all cry when that scene happens, but it is a corny line.
It is. But I mean, final boss Shion, that was actually a really cool design in that game.
Eder, could you put up a picture of her final boss design? Because I just want to show off just how cool it looks. I think it looks pretty cool. The way it kind of just looks is just amazing. And her powers that she's able to use during that fight is super cool, and I love it.
It is one of the coolest boss fights probably. And the music is just wonderful.
I love her music just in that final boss fight, and it just makes me sad having to fight one of my best friends who I had ice cream with every single day.
You know, in a lot of Kingdom Hearts games, you end up fighting your best friend kind of often.
Yes.
A running trend here.
Do you think?
Well, that's 358 then.
Now I want to go through one random thing since we got see a bit. Do you think when they all had their day off, do you think Axel was just in his room sleeping, or do you think he was actually doing something else?
He said he was sleeping. I hope he wasn't doing something else.
What do you think he was doing?
I don't know.
I think he was just playing solitaire all by himself.
Axel doesn't seem like a solitaire type of guy.
I don't know. What kind of game do you think Axel would play instead? Do you think he's just playing Jenga with Demix or something?
Yes, that's canon now. They play Jenga.
He said he was sleeping because he didn't want to be embarrassed by saying he was hanging out with Demix. Or or the entire organization was playing blackjack and didn't want to invite Roxas or something.
Oh well.
All right. Now, with that, we can move on to the big meat and potatoes of this video, Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, KH2. Oh boy. This is one of the bigger ones, considering just how it's my favorite Kingdom Hearts game of all time, just because of how amazing it is, not only with the gameplay but also the story for what it's worth.
It is one of the biggest ones, the most famous ones, the most acclaimed one by most. Everyone has their opinion, so I love Kingdom Hearts 2 a whole lot. I have a lot of love for it. I totally get that as well.
It's not my favorite game. Like, a lot of people... Okay, I'll go ahead and say this. It's a great game, all right? But it's not my overall favorite. It is for a lot of people. a lot of people also think this game is 100% perfect without any flaws, but I feel like that's nostalgia glasses speaking. So there's some issues here and there, just like with every one of the games. But cohesively, it probably had the most well put together story out of all of them because everything just flowed so well. I mean, there's a ton of content to go through.
Right.
And so many things were revealed from the beginning to the end.
Exactly. So let's just jump right into it. We're picking up with Roxas' story. Yes, Roxas' story when he gets sent into this virtual Twilight Town where he's spending last week of summer vacation with Hayner, Peds, and all that.
Yeah. The digital love, not digital love. The digital woes of the end of summer and going back to digital school.
Yes, you say digital, and the first thing that I think of is that, Roxas is gonna become a Digimon or something.
No, don't worry, that's string drop distance.
We'll get to that.
But with this kind of thing, you kind of just see Roxas kind of living out this week, getting ready for the struggle tournament, meeting up with I think Cypher from Final Fantasy VIII and his gang, including Vivi from 9 for some reason.
And Setzer from 6 is also there.
Yeah, he's just randomly there. Why do you think Diz put Setzer in there?
He admired the man's fancy attitude.
Or his airship.
Clothing.
Dude's got a
I don't think
fancy...
he has an airship in this. He just has some very fancy clothing, and there's probably some secret underground gambling casino in Twilight Town that we don't know about, and he's running it.
So it's just Yakuza, just any Yakuza game in general. But with that, Roxas kind of just ends up realizing, wait a minute, I'm in the Matrix. When just random shit just happens. Like the 7 Wonders bit, which is the weirdest bit of just... I don't even know what to call it. It's just... I don't like the 7 Wonders.
I think Diz is just having fun with his programming skills and being like, what stupid crap can I make? Oh, I can make balls fly out of a wall? Let's do that.
Oh, and also, let's just make Vivi just clone himself 50 times.
You just click the copy and paste tool.
No, I like to think that Diz it's the first time him using a computer, so he's just realizing that, like, oh, he can do a bunch of stuff. It's like, oh my god, I can copy and paste. And then you just see Riku just like, hey, Diz, do you think you should not do that? But why not? It's so much fun.
I think that's true, because remember, he used to work with the Tron program from Encom, and that's an old program. So he's getting this nice new computer, and he's like, look at all these new features.
Riku's just like, dude, you're just copying and pasting things. Yeah, I couldn't do that on my old computer. And then just him realizing that it's sad when you kind of just realize that Roxas, the life that he thought he just been living all his life, is a fucking lie. And then you have just Axel there just being a sad boy because his friend doesn't remember him. Oh no.
It's sadness all around because, Axel wants his friend back. Roxas likes his digital life, but it's fake. Riku just wants Sora to wake up.
And that's when, he ends up meeting up with Namine, going through the mansion, realizing that he's fake, beats up a computer that one bit. It's a random scene, by the way. He gets so mad that he takes it out of the computer.
Confirmed, Roxas hates technology.
It's also the digital computer that he's actually fighting, not the real one. He's actually smashing up a digital computer.
Why did he make an entire underground lab that looks exactly the same from the lab in the real world?
Because identical blueprint plans.
Well, it was one of those things to where when they imported the digital Twilight Town, they literally took a copy of it, so everything's the same.
Like I said, blueprint plans, all the same.
Yeah, and that's when Roxas' summer vacation is over. And then you hear the sad music and just, yeah. That's when we
And
get to.
one of the even if people hate, the prologue because it is very long. I will say it goes on a bit too long.
4 hours.
Yes. But that iconic line of the looks like my summer vacation is over hits you every time in the heart.
It takes on a new meaning with 358 as well. It's just like this is it, like he only lived for a year and just he doesn't even remember like most of it.
Yeah, he gets it back at the last minute, but it's too late.
Well, that's when we meet up with Sora, who's just still in the same clothes, and you gotta wonder how badly do all of them smell?
Smell, and also it's probably riding up on him very badly.
Like Sora,
He should...
he's in there for like a year.
More like a year and a half, because he didn't go one day through Castle Oblivion. It took like a good... I made a video on this, plug my sponsorship, that I made a few years ago about how many days he actually went through Castle Oblivion based on the secret reports, and it was like a few weeks, or at least I think it's been a while.
But even still, it's just kind of Sora just waking up with his old suit on, which is again riding up his ass, and you kind of just realize when you see the KH1 suit, like you realize just how dumb it looks.
Yeah, he had those fisherman pants.
Well, he's essentially wearing a onesie.
A zip-up onesie.
You're talking about Riku, yeah?
Well,
no, Sora.
Oh yeah, Sora's original. Yeah, that was dumb. I don't like it. It's like he's wearing his pajamas.
Do you think? Then again, he did leave in the middle of the night, but then again, it's what he wore when he went to Destiny Island. So I don't know. It's a really dumb-looking outfit.
Sora's mom just treated him like a baby. It's like, you're 12 years old and you're still gonna wear a onesie.
No, maybe this was Sora's idea. His mom wanted him to wear normal clothes, but then Sora said, "No, I want to wear my zippers."
Big ass zipper.
No, that was Nomura. Nomura was like, zippers for you, zippers for you.
Nomura is everybody's father?
Looks like Kairi, zippers for you. Oh yeah, we've kind of forgot to mention Kairi in this bit where she's just kind of... she's pretty much there to symbolize, oh yeah, everyone's remembering Sora at this point. Because everyone immediately forgets about him after Chain of Memories.
Because Naminé.
Thank Naminé. Thank Naminé. Thank Naminé.
Never thanks Naminé.
He never does. He never does he?
He does in Remind, but then he's like, no, wait, that wasn't an official. Thank you. That doesn't count. It was 3. It was 358, or not 358. It was 3 or Remind, one of the two.
It was in 3, I believe.
Yeah.
No, it was in Remind. You're right.
Yeah, like after Sora just goes through, gets his new dreads, because apparently, because game's got a game. I just love how Yen says like, we gotta thank you for all the stuff that you did, but it doesn't matter. None of it matters.
We have a new threat in the world now that didn't exist before.
Man, Yen Sid just doesn't like talking about these other threats until they show up in the correct game.
Yeah.
Good old
I'm just going to go ahead and state this outright. Yen Sid is the absolute most awful Keyblade master that's ever existed.
Well, he's been retired for like 20,000 years, so he's forgotten.
I'm not talking about fighting abilities. I mean, he supposedly knows all of what's going on and just withholds pertinent information to all the characters until suddenly, oh, there's a crisis. I forgot to tell you.
I said he's old, he's senile. You see how tiny his eyes are. He can't see 2 inches in front of his face.
Mr. Disney himself.
This is equivalent to just when Raiden, oddly enough played by the same voice actor as Axel, when he asks why didn't you tell me this, and then you just see Yen Sid playing a snake of, you never asked.
Yeah.
Like, it's the equivalent of that shit. It annoys the hell out of me. Yensid, the biggest Keyblade master, who we never ever see him use a Keyblade, by the way. Maybe it's because
Nope.
he doesn't need it.
He is very powerful. I mean, he just wave walled Heartless in Kingdom Hearts 3 with no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
Also, he just kind of moves from Traverse Town to his own little dimension.
And those were not just normal Heartless. Those were Heartless that were literally spawned from a dimension of the Realm of Darkness.
Yeah. But that's Kingdom Hearts 3, so we'll get there.
I'll get there when we get there. But even with this, like, this game also just reintroduces just all this Final Fantasy, like all this Final Fantasy fan service with, you know, all the old gang, the old Final Fantasy VII crew. And,
Plus Leon.
Yeah, plus Squall, you mean.
Leon!
Squall.
He hasn't redeemed himself yet. He can't be Squall anymore. Because most people, I don't know how many people read the journals, but in Kingdom Hearts 1, it said that the reason why he goes by Leon is because as an angsty teenager, he blamed himself for not saving his homeworld. So he changed his name until he could redeem himself.
Even when he does, he still calls himself Leon, but he's Squall.
Yeah. Because like I said, he, as an angsty teenager, believed that he failed in saving his homeworld. So he's like, I can't be Squall anymore. I must be Leon.
Dun dun
Which
dun.
is my last name.
What? And there's also the reintroduction into Cloud and the actual introduction to Tifa. Don't ask where she was this entire time. She just was there, guys. Trust me.
She probably fell to darkness with the rest of the world, as most people did die, and then everyone was restored, but Leon doesn't seem to know her despite knowing Cloud.
Well, everyone knows Cloud because, you know, Final Fantasy VII. I'm pretty sure the movie was released after this game. Like, was released before this game happened.
It was released before the game happened because their outfits are from Advent Children.
Exactly. Which, honestly, I gotta say, the designs from their Advent Children designs are really cool, and I love them. I love Tifa's they kept Tifa's, like, design from Advent Children, and it looks so cool.
Yeah, I like her outfit. I like Cloud's, I think the outfit is actually called Cloudy Wolf, and I love that outfit.
He doesn't have the wing anymore.
Or does he? He just doesn't use it. We don't know.
I have to think he cut it off or something. But then you have...
I do have to say that, you know, that boss fight, when you encounter Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2, you know, you go through the whole boss fight with Sora, and then you get to the cutscene and Sephiroth's just like, is that it?
Yeah, that bit where, like...
It's like, that's all you got?
I just love how Sephiroth, the only reason he wants to fight you, says, oh, look, that's a Keyblade. I want it. Give it to me now.
And then afterwards, he's like, nah, the only one who can defeat me is Cloud. Bring me Cloud.
So,
that moment that you realize that Sephiroth was toying with Sora the whole time and literally could have one-shotted him, but he just didn't.
Well,
yeah.
I think when he kind of does Heartless Angel to bring you up to 1 HP, I don't think he was completely playing with you.
Well, what I mean is, like, because after the fight, you see that Sephiroth, like, Sora is looking exhausted, and then Sephiroth's just over there like, just a walk in the park.
Yeah, Sephiroth is just like, you know, this isn't even my full power. Just give me, like, you're not even worth my time.
Yeah, and then Cloud has to come along, and darkness and light parallels happen, and then they go off to Smash together to never end their cycle of Sephiroth stalking Cloud like a creepy ex-boyfriend.
He's always the creepy ex-boyfriend. And, well, then you have Tifa. She ended up losing her. Oh yeah, has in addition to lines that are funny that can do that, you just have Tifa just says, "You can have my light," and that can mean so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure she intended it to mean different things.
Yeah.
You gotta think, this is the only universe where both Tifa and Aerith live, but Zack is dead. And both girls probably like Cloud, and Cloud's just like, I must be in darkness.
But Aerith never met Cloud in this.
Yeah, she did. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, well, she tells Sora that she's looking for her friend who has spiky blonde hair, and then you see them in the credits of Kingdom Hearts 1.
No, I
Well,
love.
yeah, it's like the only time they show them together.
I love the
And you
idea.
only saw Tifa and Cloud together during the Sephiroth scene, so same difference.
I love the idea of just I'm looking for a guy with spiky blonde hair, and then Sora just goes, "Do you have any idea of how much that doesn't narrow it down?"
Yeah.
It's like 10 people. And speaking of Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy X-2 girls that just show up randomly as fairies. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be because X-2 released around that time, getting ready to release it. But what was the point of them? Like, why were they there?
I think it was literally just to shoehorn them in. It's like, oh, here's more Final Fantasy characters.
Here's Final Fantasy X-2.
Funny enough, Riku from X-2, she was originally supposed to be in Yuffie's position in Kingdom Hearts 1, but then came the confusion of having two characters named Riku, even though female Riku had a second K in her name. So that's why they go through Kingdom Hearts 2 without ever saying their names at all.
Hey guys, we're just gonna be also
I actually
fairies?
did not know that.
Huh. Also, they're fairies? Or what are they?
They are the Gull Wings. They are the Gull Wings.
I know, they're supposed to be like the Gull Wings in X-2, and that's what they call themselves, but like...
They want treasure, that's all they want.
Again, it falls in line with X-2, but I don't really like X-2, so...
And we also talk about, speaking of 10, the other Final Fantasy character, Auron, everybody's favorite guy who's dead.
Yes, Auron shows up in the underworld, and it's like, huh, no wonder nobody wants to die.
Yeah, Auron is just...
Oh. Talk about that Hades said that he was going to bring out the baddest of the bad from the deepest area of the underworld, and it's Auron.
To be very fair, with what happened in 10, could have been worse, but I can see what he was going for. I think it would have been a lot funnier if he put out Jekt instead.
I mean, hey, Tidus is over on Destiny Islands. Where's his dad?
Again.
Yeah, the only people from 10 I don't think we saw was Jet and Lulu.
No, sad no.
It would have been so perfect for Lulu since her weapon is a Moogle, so that would have been kind of funny.
Oh, yeah. But even with that, there's no point in those girls showing up. No point. They give you a Keyblade and leave. You never see them again.
It's a pretty... Well, we see them trying to steal ice cream from Yuffie, which is funny.
Ha ha ha. How do you fly? What is your powers? What do you do? One
more on the Final Fantasy. Can we all give a big round of applause for Sid finally having a verbal voice?
I thought he already did KH2.
Not in Kingdom Hearts 1.
I could have sworn he did.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, you gotta love Sid, the guy who I think he beats up his girlfriend, who's like an abuser in 7.
It has nothing to do with Kingdom Hearts, though.
We don't know what he did back in his original world.
Well, in Final Fantasy IV, Yang's wife smacks him with a frying pan.
Oh, yeah.
To wake him up when he's sleeping. And then Cecil did it once, and it was funny.
Ha, ha, ha. But
now,
then...
where were we?
Oh yeah, I want to talk about the 1,000 Heartless battle and how cool that was, and we never get to see something like that ever again.
3 tried, but it just wasn't close enough.
No, because it ended with Train, but like with this, you see Sora actually beat up 1,000 Heartless, and then you kind of have to wonder, wait a minute, every single other person here took out probably 1,000 Heartless on their own as well.
Yes.
And just shows off just how powerful Sora is, and he wasn't even at his full power again.
Well, if all of them are doing it...
remember, these are just regular Heartless, so it's not like it's, oh my gosh, it's some big bad No, it's just regular Heartless.
Well, there was the Watchers, there was the Shadows, and there was a bunch of other variants of Heartless. They weren't boss level Heartless, but they were more than just Shadows.
Yeah, I mean, I just mean that, like, it's not any, like, high-level enemy, so at that point, it was easy for Sora to take out that many. I mean, realistically.
And along with all that, you get to see a bunch of other stuff, like, during that, while with, like, Riku, not Riku, freaking Goofy just quote unquote dying just
The
before.
fake out death.
And then Mickey just goes, "They'll pay for this," and then just the entire music wells up. Then you see Mickey going off, and you can't take that seriously, man.
You can't take rage mode Mickey serious.
No, you can't.
No. His voice just makes it not serious at all.
No, it
You need
makes.
to like drop it down 10 octaves. They'll pay.
They'll pay for this. I also. That reminds me, something that I'm pretty sure we've been like glossing over is the organization, just in general, kind of going.
we haven't talked about that really at
It's just
all.
the organization.
Well, they kind of. Well, it's like specifically Demix shows up every now and then to try to stop you.
Only twice. Once in the Underworld and then once in Hollow Bastion. And
speaking
both
of
times.
And speaking of Demix, let's talk about the hardest damn fight in the game.
Least, his data version. Yeah, I'll agree with you.
Everybody pretty much agrees that the Demix fight was like the hardest boss fight in that game.
Well, just because of the like music notes, where if you don't kill them in a certain amount of time, you just automatically die. You kind of wondered, yeah, Demix. It is sort of Demix's character where he just has his like minions do the work and not him, because he's lazy like that.
His water clones were quite powerful and hard to deal with because even though they didn't have like a lot of HP, you get a few of those summoned on you and then have him doing stuff as well. It kind of makes it a little difficult.
Yeah, that fight kind of sucks. And but it kind of just shows Demix's character of when he fucking tries, he tries.
Yeah, it's like he's like the laziest person. Like, I don't like fighting. That's because I'm a badass.
Yeah, I don't need to try. He's.
Yeah, despite his hate for fights, he is probably one of the strongest and probably could have taken out Roxas if need be.
Yeah, but
let's talk about the most annoying fight in Kingdom Hearts 2. Luxord.
Oh.
You mean Luxord?
Whatever. I've never said his name like Luxord before. Nobody has.
Luxord, like in the story, it's just a weird random boss fight that you just get teleported into.
Yeah.
Like,
Fun.
like what are you
Fun
pointing?
for him.
That's your point in the story. I'm here to literally stall you because I can't kill you.
Yeah, but playing his game was annoying. I mean,
that's why the easiest way for that boss fight is you do not play his game. You use reflect spam, and then you kick his ass.
You destroy him.
Fuck. I'm getting mad about that. Oh boy. And speaking of getting mad, I'm gonna go on a rant for a second about Kairi. She is just as bad as she is in KH1. I swear to God. I hate that she doesn't learn anything from KH1 and doesn't really do much of anything. The only thing she ever does is gets his Keyblade given to her, and what does she do with it? She's to try to be a badass and do anything? No, she hits like one Heartless and doesn't do shit. And it sucks.
She jumped off the balcony while doing it, so she gets half of a cookie. We'll give her half of a cookie for jumping.
She is still a plot device, and I hate that Square Enix did not do anything with her. Like, I want her to do things.
And let's not forget how she got her Keyblade in the first place. Ansem Riku comes along and just walks up to her and literally just pulls a Keyblade out of nowhere and is like, "Here you go."
Here you go. And then you just see Kairi just like, "Okay, thanks." Smashes one Heartless. Okay, cool. That's it. That's all you get to do now. Okay, go get captured again or something. I don't know.
And Yen Sid just had a stockpile of Keyblades in his closet. He's like, "Oh, you want one? Here you go."
Or Diz. I like to think Diz had it in his closet. In his closet.
Or Diz, not Yen Sid. They're buddies. That's all that matters.
Yes, but just I really hate Kairi as a character because she doesn't have any character. She's the damsel. She is a princess She's Sora's princess in another castle that Sora doesn't even like that much, to be very fair.
Please remember, when she saw him, he knew she had been captured and he was worried for her. But when she hugged him, he was like, hi, Kairi. Sees Riku.
Riku's here. Just
I looked everywhere for you.
Breaks down sobbing over Riku, but just awkwardly hugs Kairi, and he's like, okay.
Kairi.
Not to mention, can we talk about how that Sora didn't even need a second to realize that was Riku, even though he looked exactly like Ansem?
No, he did need a second to know. Kairi had to use her magic to let him see it. Because at first he was just saying, Ansem, thanks for helping. I know you've done bad things, but thanks. And Kairi's like, Riku, wait. And he's like, Riku?
I feel like he probably knew it in his heart.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's why when Kairi puts their hands together and they close their eyes, their hearts can see their true form.
Kairi, what are your powers? What do you do?
She has the power of bullshit.
She has the power of plot device. She does whatever the writers want her to do.
We want you to send a letter. It will make it to the realm of darkness. We want you to get captured and do utterly nothing. We can do that. We want you to jump off a building or balcony. You can do that. We want you to get trapped and not be able to fight. You can do that.
What if when she jumped off that balcony, she ended up breaking her legs because she realized she jumped off a really high place?
It's like those, like movies in real life thing. The person jumps off. It's like, I can do it.
Ah! And the only reason...
I do have to say, though, that even though that, yes, she didn't really do much, there were some pretty good scenes with her. Like, for example, that scene where she goes to the islands with Alette and reflects on a lot of things. Some of her selfie. Look, it's been a long time, and they both have dark brown hair. Okay,
they're the same character.
But either way, we'll just
or when she ends up getting kidnapped, again with Hayner, Pence, and Olette. And I really, really wish Olette had that bat that she does in the manga. Eder, can you put a picture of it? Because I find that hilarious. With just
look.
Olette just has like a nail bat ready to beat up Axel with it, and just being like, why can't you have that in the Kingdom Hearts game?
The game scene where she gets captured is one of the funniest things because like Hannah Pence and Olette are trying to stop. And it's like they're not even trying. It's like they're like, oh, stop, Axel.
That's why the manga is so much better. You gotta show the whole scene of the manga where they actively try, and then the boys get lit on fire, and Olette's gonna beat Axel with that baseball bat.
Oh, they get caught on fire? What are these?
Yeah, he kind of just like foomps their hair.
What are those kids made out of?
Courage.
Courage? I don't think courage keeps people from not setting on themselves on fire. Also, Axel seems ready just to murder 2 children.
He's a kidnapper of children, and he tried to kill Roxas because Roxas couldn't remember him.
Axel had his motives and goals, though, that we see that he sacrifices himself for.
At the end, yeah.
Because it was a nice scene, Sora's ready to beat his butt, and then Axel basically protects him, and he dies a hero.
Oh, he Axel ends up dies. Because he does a weird-ass desperation move, because, he needed to do that for some reason.
He self-destructed is what he did, and as we know, self-destructs always end up in sadness.
He just...
Yes.
Like, again, he ends up killing himself, but not really, because, the plot demands it.
I mean, he does, actually die right there.
The person of Axel died, but the person of Lee lives.
I know that, but all the organization members there, nobody's die,
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah, and also speaking of which, what are your thoughts on Xemnas? Just the final big bad of Xemnas? Because I think he's a pompous asshole.
The big, deep, sexy-voiced man who isn't as shirtless as his brother Ansem Seeker Darkness is.
I'm pretty sure he's played by John St. Peter, and that's why his voice sounds so sexy. But, like...
Yes, that's his voice, Peter St. John.
Oh, but he has to. speak and enunciate as slowly as possible.
Yeah.
All he needs is an apple, and then he can look like the part. But like
But
even then, just with that with the bit of just even when Kingdom Hearts ends up separating again, because it's a moon now. It's just like, go Keyblade Masters, go recombine the hearts for me. And he's expecting them sincerely to do that for him.
it was a good moment, though, that fight. I mean, you have to admit, the fight with Xemnas is probably one of the best ending boss fights in the whole series. I mean, it was just so satisfying to finally kick his ass.
Oh yeah, to beat his ass. I think it's also the only, like one of the first times you get to play as Reku for like all of 10 seconds.
Riku.
No,
You get to
Reku.
play for him for like 10 seconds, yes, while Sora is being zapped by Xemnas, but it felt good.
It was very one of the nice moments in there. Now, I know it was in the cutscene. I'm trying to remember if it was in the gameplay. Was where he basically starts shooting those mini lasers at them, and they are just like bounce, and they're deflecting them like crazy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the battle part where nobody knows you have to hit triangle and square at the same time, and Sora continuously is dying because you're only hitting triangle.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's triangle and X, not square.
No, because X is just attack. I thought it was.
No,
you
it's
have to hit
triangle.
charge.
It is triangle and X. I know that for sure because
No.
you know how I know? I did that fight like 20 times before realizing, wait a minute, why am I dying?
See, that's the thing. Nobody knows.
Yeah, because I always got to the end of that fight. Like on my first try, I got to the end of that fight on proud mode, and then realizing, wait a minute, I keep dying, and then just like, why am I dying? So yeah, it's triangle and X.
Yeah, those lasers is a very amazingly cool scene, and also shows, despite them just being little boys, they are extremely fast and agile.
Oh yeah. But
Can we talk about how Xemnas basically becomes Mr. Zebra Coat and becomes
Well,
becomes a Sith Lord?
yes, he
First
always was,
is-
but
First he is Xemnas, then he is Dragon, then he is Armor. Or no, he's like Xemnas, Armor, Dragon, Armor, and then Zebra.
Yeah, he uses Xehanort's Keyblade armor.
Yeah. Because connections.
well, yeah.
But can we talk? And one of the other things, though, when he's in his final form, was when Riku and Sora combined their powers against him.
Oh yeah, when he realizes, wait a minute, I can use this laser that I've been using this entire time as an actual laser. Who knew?
It goes pshoo. Also, we can talk about how Riku not only had a broken wrist from Roxas's fight back in the day, but also Xemnas injures his back and his ankle. When they're in the realm of darkness, Riku needs help walking. You can see he's dragging one of his legs, which means he has a sprain on it most likely, and also his back is hurt from Xemnas kind of almost breaking it.
Don't worry, just use Kiraga, he'll be fine.
Riku had a broken wrist for months on end, mainly probably because he was in Ansem's form and he never let it heal.
Actually, that begs the question: why didn't he cast Kiraga on himself?
Because he went into Ansem's form immediately after the wrist was broken.
I know, but when he turned back to normal,
Because it was broken.
then fix it. You guys have cure magic. Use it.
My theory on cure magic is that it can heal like wounds, but it can't heal a bone back into place if it's been months on end and it's like not healed correctly. It needs to heal naturally.
I call bullshit on that. No,
Well, tell me then, why didn't they cast Cure on Cloud after he got shot? They had used the magical rainy water in Advent Children.
because they didn't think about it.
Because the plot demanded it.
Yes, the plot demanded it. That's the real reason. It's like the question of why didn't they use Phoenix down on Aerith when she ended up dying? It's because the plot demands it.
Because my theory of it can't heal a broken bone or an organ if it's damaged because death.
That's not how it works. You just use Again, there's a lot worse things that happen to these characters, and they can just use Kiraga. They'll be fine.
If you were stabbed through the spine and through the chest,
Cloud,
I don't think
Cloud happens to Cloud every other Thursday.
No, he gets stabbed through the abdomen, and then Hojo experimented on him, and then he also got stabbed through the upper shoulder.
You don't remember the Advent Children fight where he literally got skewered?
So I said that was the shoulder. It's through the shoulder in Advent Children. It's through the abdomen in Crisis Core.
No, like there's a specific scene where Sephiroth literally stabs him like 10 times through the abdomen, the chest, the shoulder, everything.
Yeah, I'm talking about the kebab part, but that's an Advent Children podcast.
Yeah, but anyway, moving on. I don't even know if I want to do that. But any final thoughts on this before we move on?
Probably. I think it's important to talk about the end when Riku and Sora are both sitting in the Realm of Darkness, and they're not sure how to get out. And they get Kairi's letter, and suddenly the door to light opens up and they walk through it together and then fall into the ocean.
Yeah, because Aqua just couldn't do that.
Terra wasn't allowed to send
5 more minutes, Aqua would have shown up there and Diz would have shown up there and they all could have had a party together.
Yeah,
it's true because
Aqua, the unluckiest woman I've ever met in my life, where she's like moments away from freedom, but then just misses the train every single time.
And one time she intentionally missed the train.
That was stupid.
It's all Mickey's fault.
Yes, because Mickey's an asshole. Mickey is a liar and an asshole.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. How he kept Riku's secret because Riku told him, but then Sora chastised Mickey because once he got the secret out that Riku was the one that he was working with, he was like, I wasn't supposed to tell you that.
Mickey, you're an asshole. No wonder you leave your queen just alone to rule the castle by herself.
Mickey is a terrible king. He's terrible. Minnie does all the work.
Yes.
I like to think he's just king by proxy. Minnie. Well, actually, no. According to Dreamdrop Distance, he technically wasn't born into royalty. He is a king by proxy.
He's the queen's consort. He's not an actual blood royal king.
So he doesn't have any actual power.
Nope.
That explains a lot. That's why you can leave Disney Castle without any consequences, because Minnie can just run everything.
Yeah, but then she'll scold him when he gets back.
Like as every wife does. But let's move on now to, if there's any more things we can move on to Recoded.
Well,
unless you guys
there's what?
Yeah,
anything more too?
Because I can cut the bit out for saying let's move on if need be.
There is a scene, the reunion scene at the end of 2, when they did the CGI. That was it was one of the most feel-good moments because they all finally reunited with each other, and it was just one of those. This is actually a good, happy ending.
Well, Roxas and Naminé are stuck inside bodies, and you can't really do much.
It's a bittersweet ending.
Yes, bittersweet, but I mean, Roxas and Naminé were given the choice, and they made their choice.
Roxas is just having fun with Ventus in the Heart Hotel.
Yes.
All right, now.
And Shion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Shion. Shion's in there, isn't she?
And Vanitas.
Oh, Vanitas is also in there too. There's like 4 people. Do you think they just have like a congregation area where they're just talking about what Sora's there?
Chill time and chat time. And also, not only those 4, but also a digital construct of Diz is also in Sora's heart.
Yes.
How many people? Sora's a heart 4.
Yes.
Maleficent, it was also a thing that happened in this game, didn't it?
Yeah.
We kind of glossed over that, but her involvement in the game was actually vitally important at the time, and now that we know other things that have happened later on in the series, her involvement was even more important than we realized.
Well, it's because after KH1 and then all that stuff, she ends up showing back up in KH2
because they remembered her.
Yeah,
the memories came back.
The most confusing thing was, she died in KH1, and we're like, how is she back? She's, whatever. And, of course, I'm just going to go ahead and get into this because it'll be revealed later, but whatever. Because the way she was able to come back is because between 1 and 2, she traveled to the Union Cross world. And basically, that's why she goes on the hunt for the box in the book later, because the Master of Masters basically told her about it, and so did somebody else that we'll be discussing Union Cross later. But essentially, the way she was able to come back is that you have to have somebody in that time that remembers you, and you also have to have a physical object that is tied to you that's yours. With those two things in the same place, your body will reconstruct itself and you'll be able to return to your former self.
Yeah, because that's how she gets back in KH2. Along with Pete, that just is randomly there, by the way.
He was in prison, and then she went to break him out of prison.
Remember what we talked about last time? Pete just runs away.
Yes. Yeah, because like after Dream Drop Distance, he just kind of shows up back as like Maleficent's lackey.
Yeah, but you think, oh, Maleficent's back, she's gonna mess things up, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, she's helping Sora, but why? Oh, but the reason is because she was told to.
Because that and the fact like it just helps her with her plans, so she doesn't.
It helps her with her plans, but she was also basically told with the events in Union Cross that she was to help the Guardians of Light or try to foil the organization or something like that. It's been a little bit since I've seen that scene.
But even with that, it just shows just how Maleficent slowly and slowly just doesn't matter in the story anymore. But she's still
kind of just in the background.
Yeah, after Kingdom Hearts 1, she just kind of go back to the background as a character that isn't important anymore.
Except her role, she's off screen doing a lot of important stuff that we don't know about until later.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I just think Maleficent's involvement in this game just doesn't really mean much. Pete is just the comic relief boss fight that you fight him once and then just don't bother with him again.
Yep.
Yeah. And now we can move on to the next game, Kingdom Hearts Recoded. And moving on to Recoded, the most important game in the Kingdom Hearts series.
Everything is important in Kingdom Hearts. Everything.
But this one specifically isn't. Oh my god, I hate
it. Isn't
Recoded.
When it is.
In terms of story, I gotta make this clear because I know I said I liked the game in terms of gameplay on the gameplay podcast, but I hate the story in this game because it means absolutely nothing.
Except for 2 minutes at the end.
It pretty much just tells us just what happened towards the end with the letter. Because, before, I forgot to mention, the end of KH2, when, like, they're all just hanging out in Destiny Islands, like Sora, Kairi, and Riku, they just get a letter from King Mickey talking to them about, like, the Mark of Mastery exam, and this is what and how did they send this letter? Okay, let's just have an entire game explaining the events that happened so we can send that letter.
And also, what happened to Jiminy's journal? How did Naminé use her powers to erase physical writings? Now we go into the data and find out.
Yeah, because, you go to all you need to do is plug a book into the computer and then just data shows up. Yeah, you gotta convert a book to data.
Yeah, it converted to a PDF file.
Did they scan every single page? By that I mean, they scanned a bunch of blank pages thinking that something was there.
It has invisible ink.
Well, technically, it's what it is.
That's true. But the data was corrupted. Dun, dun, dun.
So, you get to go through, do a bunch of stuff. Riku's a journal now.
Data Riku. Because out of all the faces and all the people and all the places that the journal could have physically taken a form of, it chose the prettiest boy of them all.
But Terra's not here.
No, it was Riku because Riku was the chosen one.
He's not the prettiest boy, but he is. He was
Well,
the chosen one.
You on that? I'll fight you on the prettiest boy.
I will fight you on that. I will fight you to death. But with this game, though, it's just it's none of it matters. Maleficent shows back up along with Pete at one point.
And they put bugs inside Riku.
You gotta put...
Yeah.
I like the idea they just put little mosquitoes inside Riku. You know, that's just how that shit works. But with... You gotta wonder, though, how did Mickey and everyone else not realize that they just went into the virtual world without them knowing? Like, I don't get that.
I have no idea how they did
Well, I think it was the data, just like I said, with Tron. It just goes... sucks them in. They don't even realize it.
I don't know. That's stupid. Also, they kind of figured when they get sucked into Tron in KH2. But, like...
Yeah, Tron. I forgot to mention that before, but we'll get there one day.
No, we won't. But... I'm not gonna lie to the viewers. We will not.
We will when we get to Dream Drop Distance and I go on a rant.
You will go on a rant. But there's also, I think this is also the game where it's just like... The whole point of it is also to tell about Aqua, Terra, and Ven are just kind of
still suffering.
Are they still suffering? We should help them. Well, I'd say fuck Terra because his fucking lingering will fight is annoying as hell, and it took me too much time.
Didn't you also just call him the prettiest boy?
Oh no, in terms of looks, he's pretty, but in terms of just his boss fight, it fucking sucks.
That's sad for Terra. And also, besides those three, you also got Shion and Roxas and Axel. They need some help.
Yeah, everyone needs help because, you know, no one can do anything without Sora at this point.
You gotta get the Beatles and play the song, and then everything will be okay.
It's also just the whole bit of, like, they need to take the mark of mastery because, you know, that's what we need to do. Because
Yun Sid has realized Xehanort will be returning because his Nobody and his Heartless have been killed. So that means they fuse together and become one again.
Ooh. Well, then again, he really kind of just comes back together as Terra.
And Xehanort, and young Xehanort, and Xemnas, and Ansem Seeker of Darkness.
But well, technically, I guess it's Terra's Heartless and Nobody. Just it's just mixed with the Xehanort. It's like
the thing about the Terranort is it's a fusion. Terranort, is a fusion of Xehanort and Terra, but then Terranort stabs himself, making a Heartless of Terra's heart, and then the Heartless then his heart becomes Heartless to become Ansem Seeker of Darkness, because he had such a strong evil heart he could have a physical human form with a great chest.
I love the idea of just it's like the Powerpuff Girls opening of courage, light, darkness. These were the creation to pick the perfect little Terra, but an accident added an extra green concoction. Xehanort, bang! Thus the Terranort was born, using the ultra superpowers. Terranort, Xemnas, and Ansem Seeker of Darkness have dedicated their lives to being an asshole to Sora.
Yes.
That is just how that is canon to me now.
And then the Data Riku and the Data Sora lived happily ever after in the Datascape together. And Kairi didn't exist.
Yeah, because, that's not important to him. Because even Naminé was there. Like, Data Naminé was there, but not,
And Data Roxas, too.
Yeah,
but not Kairi.
It's almost like she wasn't a character or something like that. I hate that character. Actually, no, I can't. I hate that plot device. I hate her so much. Is there anything specific that you guys ever want to talk about with Recoded? Because this one's gonna be a short one.
Honestly, I don't know, because I'm just sitting here thinking I have nothing for Recoded, at least at the moment, because the main stuff for Recoded that I have pertains to 3, and we're not there yet.
We'll be there soon. The next few
We'll
parts.
be there when we get there.
I should just have the Incredibles clip of just Mr. Incredible go with "We'll get there when we get there" on standby.
You gotta have it lip synced to whenever you say it or one of us says it.
Editor, can you do that for me? Can you do it for me? Thanks. Like, just
love
make it a
it.
GIF. Just make it a GIF. It'll be great. Because anytime I say that, that's what pops into my head every single time. Anyway, I think that unless there's anything else that you want to say, I think that would wrap up this podcast episode.
Yeah.
All right, so you can check out Claire Fire Dragon's channel in the description. I think she's doing a watch along with Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Sorry,
And uploading my Melody of Memory playthrough.
Yeah, so make sure you keep driving that, and we'll see you guys on the next podcast episode where we will go into Dream Drop Distance 0.2 and the back cover Dark Road, Kingdom Hearts back cover and Kingdom Hearts Dark Road.
And Union Cross.
Yes, because that was there. So anyway, we will see everybody next time. Bye-bye.